Well, likely a small map, and the thing is if they blind lock Rogue Mage Druid, there are more than enough melee cleaves in the ocean of melee cleaves available to the boys to counter it, so I don't think that the Super Frogs can safely blind lock the Rogue Mage. I'd much rather see them maybe even blind lock a cleave of their own or blind lock their Mage Warlock again, give it another go. But because they won the blind pick, they will always have the swing match advantage. So that means the boys have to win without the map in their favor and without knowing what's coming their way. Perhaps they have a surprise to do that, but we will not find out until after this match, assuming that they lose the next one.
I don't have any stats to support this right now, but
all right, let's hear it.
Operating off of a feeling. I feel like throughout the entirety of this season, in the best of sevens, the idea of a swing matchup, I mean, it obviously does exist, but I think it's way, I actually think the blind pick's less impactful in best of sevens.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I think it's less impactful in best of sevens.
Potentially, with the way maps play out.
Why don't you agree with it?
Why don't I agree with it? Because, I mean, look at this matchup right in front of us. I think this is likely to go back and forth. The only thing I could potentially see is, like you kind of mentioned, maps do come into play, and the one counter comp that we have seen from the boys was the Destruction Warlock, Restoration Druid, Windwalker Monk, and that did seem pretty good into what Super Frogs was able to run when they were running the Destruction Warlock, the Mage Lock Druid, on a smaller map. But I think if they lock in a smaller map, Super Frogs actually can still easily win that matchup. So I think it's likely that on the boys pick, they go to a map like, I was going to say a small map, but I guess Blade's Edge is kind of a specialized map. Not going to be too bad for them, especially with Chun-Li on the Windwalker Monk, going to have access to that verticality as well. Thugonomics. Destruction Warlocks are really good on this map because there's not a lot of places you can run and hide. If you're up on the top side of the bridge, you're going to get hit by Chaos Bolts for sure. But I'm just kind of wondering, is this a map where the Super Frogs can lock in the Mage Lock Druid?
Zico, how do you feel?
What was that?
What was what?
You know what
Rich
you
has
did.
been giving you dirty looks the whole time.
I know. I think he's just mad.
I think that I think he doesn't like you, Ben.
I don't know how that started. I don't know how that whole Rich or Ven hates Rich thing started. It's not Rich hates Ven. Rich loves Ven. You're one of the few people that knows my real name and not just my gamer tag.
Yeah, that is surprising.
We have a really strong bond. You're one of the only people who actually knows my real name. I don't even think everybody on this desk knows my real name.
Not a lot of people know that Rich Campbell is actually an alias, not his real name.
Rich W. Campbell.
Yeah.
That's not a real name. Who would do that? Who would name themselves that? As you can see, well, I guess.
All right.
Okay, we're going to see that Warlock head-to-head matchup. We're going to be on Blade's Edge as well. I want to talk, though, about the Game 7 the advantage. I do want to talk about that a little bit more. Zico, how do you feel the best of 7 shifts what we see in the typically best of 5 format?
Well, it's mainly the large maps that get affected. The small ones, there's so many different ones, you know. We already saw Hook Point. There's still Dalaran Sewers. We're seeing Blade's Edge. There's Blackrook Hold, you know, there's so many different small maps that you're not going to be able to play them all out if you have that advantage on a small map. Now, with the larger maps, there isn't as many, but even then, I don't think it's that big of a factor. Tiger's Peak is still a nice map, and of course, Nagrand Arena, and we know that Ashamane's Fall, Tolvaran Arena, they're all, you know, good maps for those wizard comps, so I don't think it's going to affect things too much. I actually think that Super Frogs are very well set up in terms of winning this entire matchup here. It's going to be up to the boys to win on one of the medium-sized maps, potentially when they do play that, well, this comp that they're running right now. It's going to be a big performance from Gorecki, potentially carrying them forward in one of those wizard maps, because whenever it's small, they should have the advantage, but Super Frogs also have a lot of large maps that they want to pick, so.
Let's see if Super Frogs can get themselves on match point, or if the boys are going to be able to tie this one up 2-2.
All right, let's see if they can do it. Can the boys manage to pull this back and tie it up 2-2? It's a best of 7 grand finals. The last time that we will see these two titans in North America go head-to-head before the spring finals, where they will then meet Europe and decide who is better, North America or Europe, later this year. And then after this series, we still have a tiebreaker. We've still got the Mew Mew Kitty Cats. We've still got Jamili going up against his grudge match, his rivalry with Colo on the team of Never Lucky. Their team had 2 shots at qualifying. They didn't make either. They've got 1 more left, but 3 strikes, you're out. Mew Mew Kitty Cats later on after this series. Right now on Blade's Edge Arena, there are not many places to hide, and with Destruction Warlocks on both sides, this could go either way.
Yeah, definitely could. Like I said, there is not a lot of room to run and hide on this map. However, there's also not a lot of room for Wealthy Man to kite Chun-Li. He's not going to be able to create too much distance. If Wealthy Man is pushing in, trying to get crowd control onto Gorecki, look at Thugonomics. He's in a great position. There's no line of sight for Wealthy Man. He's just going to eat Chaos Bolt after Chaos Bolt. The same is true for Chun-Li. Chanimal might be able to get a lot of pressure out on this map onto Chun-Li. And I'm actually very curious to see if either one of these Druids is ever going to be able to sneak away for a drink. Paralysis into Bash. Good setup here from the boys. Looking to get really aggressive on Chanimal. He could be in some trouble. Thugonomics finds the fear on Wealthy Man. Chanimal all by himself at this point in the game. Does manage to survive off the back of that unending resolve, but big cooldown used by Super Frogs.
Big cooldowns used by the Super Frogs. Can they stay alive later into this fight? Touch of Death and Infernals available for the side of the boys. They combo those together. Chanimal could get chopped through Iron Bark even at this point in the match, and I am curious to see if they can set it up. Everything is built for this moment. Is Gorecki going to be the X Factor is also a question. Infernals have landed. Thugonomics, he's popping that unending resolve. He's casting Chaos Bolts, and you're not stopping him unless you Nether Ward. Chanimal just says, no way, Thugonomics, you're getting over eager. Nether Wards a Chaos Bolt back into his face, and now Thugonomics has overextended his defensive lineup.
I just love how excited you got there, and Chanimal was like, nope, no way. Nether Ward straight back to Thugonomics. Thugonomics activated his Nether Ward, and Chanimal ran out of line of sight. A little bit of an outplay there for Chanimal. Now a fear on the Thugonomics. Gorecki getting swatted away by Wealthy Man as he moves towards midfield. Chaos Bolt lands, Frostbolt as well. Chun-Li rolls off the side of the map, looking to keep Cubsy in combat. You can see Chun-Li, he's placed his Transcendence in the midfield, and it's a good place for it to be. At any point, he can just jump off the side of the bridge, and he can escape to safety. If Wealthy Man and Chanimal, they decide to chase, guess what? Chun-Li uses Transcendence, gets back up on the bridge, and Wealthy Man and Chanimal have to march all the way around up on top of the bridge in order to get back in line of sight and start casting some spells. So that's one of the benefits for the boys on this map. Chun-Li is going to be much more of a stable target with the ability to really use that Z-axis.
All right, let's see what they can get done here with no unending resolve on either side. That's an opening, but Cubsy's mana, that is not a healthy amount comparatively to Gorecki, and I just love watching Gorecki on this Druid. I'm very interested to see how he fares in the European scene, but as far as the European scene, Looney, he's equally good on Druid, potentially maybe not as talented with the Feral affinity, but his ability to play Mistweaver Monk is going to be really an X factor overall when we do get to the spring finals. Right now the boys are developing a massive lead, as would be expected with their map selection and comp advantage. Chanimal gets denied on the Innervate heals of Cubsy. Gorecki once again dealing devastation with both control and mana management and healing output, allowing his team to also just blunder away their unending resolve with no punish whatsoever.
Yep, we'll have to see what exactly happens. Like we kind of talked about, Thugonomics is going to be relatively stable in this matchup until a little bit later on in Dampening, where some of the self-healing of that Destruction Warlock really is limited. Cubsy now repositioning into the starting area, looking for a reset on his mana. If he can sit down and drink, that's good. Like we said, Super Frogs, they were way behind at this point in the game. It's a bit of a disaster for the boys to just allow him to reset his mana completely. Chun-Li's trying to shut it down, manages to do so. Cubsy did sit down for a little bit of a drink, but still a massive lead in this matchup for Gorecki. Now some pressure on Thugonomics. Good control coming in from Wealthy Man. What are Super Frogs going to be able to do? We have seen in the past, Thugonomics is the main kill target for their team. Later on in Dampening, he's just such a susceptible target to being snared out in midfield and getting bursted down.
Wealthy Man at half health and interrupted, can't access Ice Block, and he's in midfield. Thugonomics gets shut down though by Chanimal. Good backup, good teamwork between Chanimal and Wealthy Man to assist each other when they are in trouble. Cubsy managed to reset his mana just as Dampening entered the fight, a complete reset for their team and giving them another opportunity to potentially move to match point. Even though the boys have effectively crafted what they would like to consider a counter, it's not entirely so. The Super Frogs can definitely pull off victory, so the pressure is on. The momentum is building. Gorecki is trying to sneak away and drink underneath the bridge, or maybe just re-stealth, not able to find it. Bash the Chanimal instead for Chun-Li to dish out some extra damage. really trying hard to get an Iron Bark with this attempt. They do manage to get it from Cubsy. One defensive cooldown off that grocery list. The next big push will be for that Unending Resolve, and I'm curious if Chun-Li and Thugonomics are going to split up their Infernals and Touch of Death. If they commit them at the same time, Channel can get a 2-for-1 exchange on his Unending Resolve. If they split them up, they could then potentially force it and then kill with the other later on. So you're curious to see how the boys manage their offensive cooldowns at this moment in time. Cubsy actually has a mana lead, and suddenly the Super Frogs are developing an advantage.
Yeah, Super Frogs are looking good in this matchup so far, but boys not doing too bad. Gurecki a little bit behind on mana, but still, there's a huge capability for an all-in push. Chanimal caught in midfield, Thugonomics as well. Wealthy Man just teeing off on him, spamming Frostbolt after Frostbolt. Big flurry, Thugonomics forced to use the Unending Resolve. Gurecki was getting really aggressive, and I like the fact that Wealthy Man decided, you know what, you're going to get aggressive. I'm going to use my Icy Veins. I'm going to try to start pulling out some cooldowns, and it worked out well for them. Thugonomics now down, no Nether Ward, no Trinket, no anything really. Polymorph on a Gurecki. Thugonomics still in a little bit of trouble. Chun-Li looking to deny. Beautiful Ring of Peace knocks Chanimal off the side of the bridge. Look at this little waddling Warlock trying desperately to get in range of Thugonomics. Finally, Chanimal back into the fight. Can get some damage rolling, but heads up play by Chun-Li keeps his team in the fight.
That little waddling Warlock might be little now, but with Dark Soul in another minute, these Chaos Bolts will be gigantic. Who will connect it here as dampening continues to mount higher and higher, reducing the incoming healing, and inevitably will close the fight out. A swap to Wealthy Man. Thugonomics lines up a huge hit. Wealthy Man has to ice block. Fortunately, no overlap on the side of Cubsy, but in the meantime, Gurecki gets a Cyclone. And now potentially Wealthy Man in trouble as that ice block's defense will fade. Thugonomics sets up another Chaos Bolt. That's flying forward. Cubsy needs to deny that with some heals, but Chun-Li's on top of him. Interrupts his heal. Chanimal gets hit as well. Good crowd control from Chun-Li. Fist of Fury flying. Desperately trying to force an Unending Resolve. Ring of Peace knocks Chanimal, but not too far off the side. Cubsy in position to heal him, but did push forward, potentially exposing himself to fear from Thugonomics. Not close enough. Cubsy repositions back. Now the mana hugely in favor of the Super Frogs. At one point in time, Gurecki was full and Cubsy was almost out of mana, but Cubsy's got good presence of mind, although they've had to trade ice blocks to find it, and maybe have to trade the final one. Wealthy Man's down at half health. Can they get enough damage out? The fears are fading on Thugonomics shortly. He's likely lined up for a Chaos Bolt if he can find it. Gurecki, a little bit peculiar bark skin on his part. I guess he was pushing forward aggressively and just wanted to have that up in case they swapped to him. But it does open an opportunity maybe to switch to him again. Cubsy now with that Feral Affinity trying to set up some stuns on Chun-Li. Not going to be getting anything really off the back of it. Chun-Li's held on to Touch of Death. See what he can get.
Look at this poor Windwalker monk just getting polymorph into polymorph into polymorph into stun into fear into root. And that's the problem. When you see Thugonomics run away, when you see Gurecki run away, Chun-Li gets left behind. He gets crowd controlled too easily. Big burst setup here. Thugonomics on the top side of the bridge, moving forward, gets a double Mortal Coil, looking for a fear onto Cubsy, finds it. Chanimal vulnerable. What is he going to do? Uses the Nether Ward to reflect the Chaos Bolt. Gets interrupted by Chun-Li. Wealthy Man backs him up with a good polymorph onto Chun-Li. Chanimal stabilizing. Now Thugonomics could be the one that's in trouble. Frozen Orb gets dropped down. One Gladiator's Maledict lands. A second from Cubsy. Gurecki's going to have to play catch-up. I don't know what his mana's looking like right now, and it's not looking too good. 25% dampening. Thugonomics is just such an exposed target.
All right, Thugonomics, 7 seconds away. Gurecki's almost out of mana. This is your map pick. This is your comp advantage. If they lose here, yeah, I really think there's almost no hope for them to win the series. Super Frogs will continue to advance their lead in points in the North American region. Almost securing a spot at the World Finals off points alone, moving into the summer season. Chun-Li just can't connect, crowd controlled away. Gurecki, what's he trying to do? He got a drink, I do believe. He's now got a decent amount of mana moving forward at 30% dampening, imminent. Gurecki restyle stuns up Thugonomics. Big damage. Now Chanimal gets stunned up. Damage on both sides. Infernals have landed for Thugonomics as he pulls the trigger first. Chanimal respects that damage on Unending Resolve, but then gets cycloned on it. Thugonomics is still low. Chanimal now has his call Infernal in 1 second. See if he decides to call those in right away. He does. Both Destruction Warlocks going toe-to-toe to decide whose Chaos Bolt is bigger.
They don't call them Destruction Warlocks for nothing. Chanimal landing a full fear on the Gurecki as they are pushing forward. 31% dampening. Wealthy Man trying to create some pressure for his team. Did use his Icy Veins, but Thugonomics did manage to hold on to his Unending Resolve.
Who's got the biggest Chaos Bolt? Is it Thugonomics or is it Chanimal? Gurecki.
Wealthy Man in trouble. It may not even be a case between Thugonomics and Chanimals, as Wealthy Man is likely to be the target here as Chun-Li is focusing him down. Huge Fist of Fury pressure. Chanimal sets up, goes for the Chaos Bolt. Chun-Li touch of Karma, so Chanimal stops his cast. Does not want to add to the redirected pressure, but still, Wealthy Man in trouble. Blinks back up the ramp. Gliders, Maledicts, and Gorecki move in. That added extra Feral Affinity damage may be enough. Gorecki's tearing in. Wealthy Man gates to safety in midfield with Chanimal and Cubsy. Managed to hold on to that precious ice block a little bit longer.
Yep, Chun-Li now caught into a stun with no trinket available. Could be a little bit of an exposed target. Wealthy Man still trying to generate some pressure for his team. The boys falling apart a little bit in this specific moment in time. Good pressure, but Wealthy Man with only one ice block left, getting bursted down. Thugonomics, does he have any damage? Chun-Li trying to just solo him in this instant, but Wealthy Man blinks away back to the safety of his restoration druid. Now Cubsy should be able to find a Cyclone onto Chun-Li. Chanimal potentially looking for some damage, finds a big Chaos Bolt onto Chun-Li. Fortifying Brew gonna be traded out. Chun-Li ultimately will survive, but he is running out of cooldowns and running out of time.
Yeah, it's not looking too good here for Chun-Li on his map pick and the comp advantage. If they lose here, Super Frogs advance to match point and likely take the rest of the series. The boys need to get some work done. It's all up to Gorecki. Can he carry the team with this Feral Affinity? Can he add some extra damage, some extra crowd control, and some extra meow to find perfect victory? Gorecki gets stunned up. No crowd control to follow that up, unfortunately. Now trinketing out. Touch of death from Chun-Li. This push has to net a kill. Chanimal Nether wards Thugonomics Chaos Bolt. Mortal Coils Chun-Li away. Escapes to safety at the top of the ramp. Just in time for Cubsy to leave crowd control. MVP Chanimal.
Yeah, Chun-Li, though, with Touch of Karma, he can get aggressive. Gets caught into the rake stun. He's going to be looking to close this game out and take down Chanimal. What is Chanimal going to do? Wealthy Man trying to get some control of the situation, trying to get some counter pressure onto Chun-Li. Chun-Li now super vulnerable of a target, looking for a Fist of Fury. Thugonomics looking to back him up with a big Chaos Bolt landing onto Chanimal. Ironbark looking to reduce some of that incoming damage, but a beautiful Ring of Peace once again, forcing Chanimal on the bottom side of the bridge. Chun-Li, though, still not topped off, and Gorecki's caught into a full fear.
All right, let's see what Chun-Li can do. Evasive maneuvers, manages to escape to safety off the side. Mana now almost tapped for Cubsy. Suddenly the mana in favor of the boys. Perhaps they can take game number 4 and tie it all up. Bring us to a game 5 in the best of 7 grand final.
Whoa.
Suddenly gets blasted in midfield by Wealthy Man and Chanimal. A tag team effort and a KO for the Super Frogs. They move to match point.
And that's what we call a big, beefy bolt. Super Frogs gonna be able to take this one. Zico, how did they do it?
They managed to outlast the composition, and this is kind of what we were talking about even on the previous match on Hook Point. When you remove the Mistweaver from the equation, then it's all about that win condition on mana. The Super Frogs Resto Druid of Cubsy is always going to have an easier time because he has 2 wizards shooting out spells, and then of course you're going to have Gorecki. Each has way more work to do. He needs to go in and set up those kills, and it's just so hard for him to get those setups off because every time he does, all of a sudden, there's a Warlock, there's a Mage casting on him, and every time Chun-Li pushes in as well, there's so much spammable crowd control happening all the time.
Yeah, and I feel like this is one of those things that just really goes to show it matters way more how you use your bolt, especially in a scenario like this. Supatees, I think that when we do look at this game as a whole, that's proven.
Yeah, most certainly is. And now if you're the boys, you can't win on your map pick. You can't win with your comp advantage. You're on match point. What more can you do besides potentially throw a curveball, throw in just a composition that you haven't tried at this point? But maybe it's also the map. That didn't actually look too great for them overall.
I got a crazy idea.
Mugambala.
Mugambala.
Hey, come on, man. We need a different prophecy here.
It's not. That wasn't the prophecy. First of all, Sid, you stole my perfect line, okay? Yesterday you threw me under the bus using the same joke twice, you know?
Are you even kidding?
Okay, I'm not letting this fly. I'm not letting this fly. We're going to break. When we get back, we will have fully regained, and we're going to find out who our champion of North America is. We are going to be finding out very shortly who our champion is in North America, and also we're going to figure out who the 4th place team is. 2 more series left today. We're already in the middle of that grand final. My name is Rich. I'm going to be your host. I'm joined by Zico, Supatees, and Venruki, and we already started to predict maybe what the rest of this series could look like. For anybody who's just tuning in right now on the other side of this break, what are you thinking, Zico?
Well, there's 2 options that I see for the boys. If we see a small map, Mistweaver, but the same composition essentially. If we see a large map though, never mind.
Small map going to be locked in, and so if we saw a large map, you wanted to see what? Destro Ellie? Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah, of course you were. So, Rich, why is the Resto Druid bad in this match?
So there are a few reasons that the Resto Druid is bad in this match. It's a smaller map, so it's going to be very difficult to get drinks. Zico, though, what are the other reasons?
Well played. The other reasons is, of course, both teams have a Resto Druid, and the team that is more likely to run the other Druid is Super Frogs. Now, the good thing about the Resto Druid, Rich, compared to the Mistweaver on this map is what?
Dude, Dilly just tweeted at me that he's not going to queue with me anymore. You got to stop this. I'm losing all my queue partners because of you. You never play NA anymore with me. The barber's retired. I haven't given a haircut in so long. I can't remember the last haircut I've given.
Zico's opened up a new business, sorry.
Yeah, we used
more lucrative business than cutting hair.
Man, we used to give haircuts all day long. And
you used to give the haircuts. I used to sheep people. You just used to shear them with your blade storm, so.
Snip, snip. Snip, snip.
Yeah, the barber. Anyway, the reason why we don't like the good thing about the Druid compared to the Mistweaver is obviously you're going to have a healer who's not going to be getting crowd controlled on his way to the target, but you're also going to have those extra rake stuns, and of course he's not going to be able to be polymorphed, which is another win condition that the Super Frogs has.
Yeah, and I also think another important thing is Goreki's flat out better on his Restoration Druid than his Mistweaver Monk, which I think is really, really important to consider in this matchup.
Especially when we have these two high-caliber teams going up against each other, especially when comfort is going to be important. When you are against the wall, Super Frogs just one game away from taking the entirety of this series.
Very curious to see if they can just 4-1 the boys, asserting dominance in the North American region and claiming first place finish going into the spring finals. Of course, after this game, assuming that the Super Frogs win here, we will see the team of Never Lucky go against the Mew Mew Kitty Cats. This is Colo against Jamili to qualify to the spring finals to be the fourth and final spot to go to the spring finals. So even after this series, you do not want to go anywhere because we still have business to settle other than trying to sling pies.
What?
I don't know, it was a bakery joke.
Oh, okay. I was like, we're not slinging pies right now. We're casting World of Warcraft Arena.
Zico's slinging pies over there.
What? No.
Whoa! Thugonomics getting bursted down. Big Chaos Bolt landing from Chanimal. We saw what Chanimal was able to get done against Colo yesterday with some huge Chaos Bolts of his own. So no one can be sleeping on Chanimal in this particular match. At any moment, he could end the game. Definitely scary for the boys in this particular matchup. But once again, matchup kind of comes down to mana on both teams. Either deep dampening, where the Warlocks become really susceptible, or one of the Restoration Druids eventually runs out of mana. So sneaking away for drinks is going to be ultra important for Goreki and Cubsy.
Touch of Death denies Chun-Li's big push. Now, oh, maybe not. Multi-Man gets hit hard. Thugonomics has to exchange his unending resolve. Even still with that, dipping low. Double Mortal Coil, though, now denies it. He's cycloned. He can't be healed by Goreki. Cooldown's blown on both fronts, but I do think Elite is establishing itself fourth. The Super Frogs here as Cubsy can sneak away and drink, as Zico was saying in the pre-game with his composition. There's much more pressure in their team's favor, so Cubsy can more easily sneak away from the fight, and if the enemy team chases him, they get blasted by Chaos Bolts and Frost Bolts, so it's not too easy to stop Cubsy from drinking. Thugonomics at half health, but Goreki denies the kill with Iron Bark. Cubsy gets cycloned, I do believe, by Goreki. Interesting that Nether Ward was actually dropped by Thugonomics. I'm bit curious as to what honor talent Thugonomics is running instead of that. I would have expected that it was pretty standard. Maybe it was being nether or spell stolen too frequently by Wealthy Man, so he doesn't want to give it to him in a Kleptomania spell steal, but it's not typical we see the Nether Ward dropped on the Destruction Warlock in a Wizard War.
Yeah, that is really interesting. I wonder what honor talent he decided to pick up, as you would think the defense from that ability would just be really good. You can use it to reflect the Gladiator's Maledics, you could use it to reflect Chaos Bolts, just overall super solid, but unfortunately Thugonomics not going to be running that. Now full bash onto Goreki. What is Cubsy going to be able to get done? Finds the full Cyclone, but there's just not too much pressure on the Chun-Li and Thugonomics in this particular moment in time. Right now, Super Frogs, they're up in the series 3-1. This is a best of 7, so if Super Frogs can win this game, they will win this series and win the tournament, which is going to be huge for them. Right now, they are the #1 point-earning team in North America with a commanding lead over basically everyone else. The boys in a solid second place, but for the boys. If they could somehow come back, win the next 3 games in a row, it would be huge for their point standings overall.
What's interesting with the Super Frogs is that they were struggling a bit with Mew Mew Kitty Cats earlier in the day. Early in the tournament, with that Rogue Mage. And they actually face ABC, which is a Rogue Mage main, in the first round of the Spring Finals. So I'm curious if Super Frogs are going to polish up their Demon Hunter Death Knight to try and deal with that. And if that ends up being the case, it could be a Demon Hunter Death Knight mirror between ABC and the Super Frogs. All of the teams need to prepare as many compositions as possible moving forward to that Spring Finals. Whoever is the most limited, I would guess, is likely the most likely to lose. We do see Greki and Cubsy both actually sneaking away, and neither team is going to stop it. It's like a clean reset on both sides. A bit surprising to see that advantage dropped by both sides.
Yep. Both Druids going straight to full mana, but like we kind of said, dampening meter doesn't really reset. We're almost at that point where dampening is going to start kicking in, reducing the incoming healing. Nice ring of peace there by Chun-Li, knocking Chanimal off. Chun-Li's been on point in this series so far with his ring of peace. Really control up Chanimal, knocking him out of line of sight, really avoiding some of the damage and control that he has. Chun-Li now turning his attention over on Chanimal, trying to get some damage rolling. Is he going to be able to get anything done? Chanimal finding a nice little Chaos Bolt on Chun-Li. Chun-Li could be in trouble, actually trading out his Touch of Karma. I'm a bit curious as to why. I guess he's not too afraid of dying in this matchup just yet, but that was kind of a waste of that defensive cooldown.
All right, major defensive cooldown blown out of the way for Chun-Li. Getting blasted by Chanimal. Jumping off the side, ducking for cover. Flying Serpent kick back to Greki, should be okay. Thugonomics at the pillar as well. Good defensive posture for the boys here. They're on match point. They can't afford to throw it away. They will just be knocked out of the tournament in second place if they lose this game here. They need to win 3 in a row. The comeback train, but I'm not sure if they've been punched a ticket yet for that train. Dampening has entered. Mana lead for the Super Frogs, and that is not spelling too good for the boys as Greki tries to sneak away, maybe? He's playing on the outskirts of that box. I'm curious if anyone on the side of the Super Frogs looks to deny. Instead, Greki jumps in, but was denied on his stealth, so he did not get the bonus stun on his rake from being in Prowl. Chanimal now stunned by Chun-Li. Greki gets jumped on. They're swapping to Greki, trying to punish that Feral Affinity. Huge damage follows that up. Tons of pressure. Greki's just gonna go down. He gets blasted. He shadow melts. What? He stayed alive as a result of that shadow melt. Very close call. Finally, we see Greki punished a bit for his Feral Affinity play. He's very cheeky. He's casting Entangling Roots at 30% in their face. Greki is total disrespect.
Yeah, they want to get the first ice block from Wealthy Man. What greedy plays from Greki, but ultimately he will end up surviving in this match. Shadow Meld and the Gladiator Safeguard Trinket going to be enough to keep him alive, which is really, really nice for the boys. They are on match point right now. That would have been disastrous. I want to see more attempts like that from the Super Frogs. Really try to punish Greki from making these really aggressive pushes in this matchup. Wealthy Man looking for a polymorph, gets denied by Thugonomics. The positioning, Chanimal, he's overextended right now. Thugonomics just serving him up some Chaos Bolts. Chanimal forced to use that any resolve, looking for his Shadow Fury, manages to shut down some damage, but now Mortal Coil from Thugonomics. He's continuing the assault, but gets interrupted and shut down. Once again, Thugonomics going to be positioning behind the pillar.
What tastes better, a Greater Pyroblast pie or a Chaos Bolt pie?
I mean, it really depends. What do you season the Chaos Bolt with? If you're seasoning it with Demons and Dark Souls, then that's definitely a delicious Chaos Bolt.
Yeah, I mean, the Greater Pyro pie is just burnt, isn't it? Like,
Okay.
it's probably just burnt.
All right, I hear that I'm needed. The way that it works, a Chaos Bolt is, oh my god, my voice, they don't want you to know. The way that it works, a Chaos Bolt is like, it's like a European pie. You ever have the shepherd's pie and the big meaty, beefy, saucy,
Demons.
spicy. That's like a pie. Like it's like how Healing Stat would talk about a pie. It's like, oh, let's get a quick pie. And it's like probably got mushy peas in it and stuff like that. That's like what Adrian would
Drizzled
refer to
in
as a pie.
ketchup.
Then when you look at a G pie, now that's Thanksgiving Day pie right there. I'm not talking about that pecan stuff. I'm talking about pumpkin pie.
All right. Well, that was an interesting description.
Descriptive imagery there.
Yeah, I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. Dampening is rampening 17% right now. Thugonomics going to receive some pressure.
All right. Greki denies the kill with Iron Bark. Cubsy, how much mana did you end up getting full? That's bad. Wealthy Man, though, gets interrupted. Chun-Li leads the charge. They need to get a kill with this. They're so far behind on mana. Wealthy Man not going to give them that. Ice Block denies the kill. Fair trade for a full mana bar.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a fair trade. Wealthy Man still looking healthy with 1 Ice Block available. 20% dampening at this point in the game. What are the boys going to do? Goreki's almost out of mana. Cubsy pushing in, looking for crowd control. Thugonomics denies it, but Chun-Li caught all alone behind Chanimal. Wealthy Man really looking to punish. This is the touch of death, but there's just too much control on Chun-Li. Finally, a double leg sweep lands. Good pressure now on Wealthy Man. He gets Vortex back on his blink. This could be the second Ice Block. Oh! Back of a beautiful interrupt from Thugonomics. That was a great offensive push, but now Chun-Li could be in some trouble. He's going to get out of line of sight. Chanimal, can he find the damage? There's a rake stun. Chun-Li portals out of line of sight. Beautiful transcendence. Goreki doing everything in his power to stay in the game. Cubsy with a nice rake stun of his own onto Goreki, looking for a Cyclone. Chun-Li shuts it down. Now Thugonomics, he's been left behind. Great offensive push by the Super Frogs, but Wealthy Man is really vulnerable. Beautiful play on Cubsy's part, but no kill will be netted. Now Thugonomics in trouble. They're on match point. If he goes down, they're out of this, and we will see a grudge match between Never Lucky and the Mew Mew Kitty Cats. Thugonomics goes for the unending resolve, his last line of defense. He barely holds on. Wealthy Man trying to snipe him and just close the series out. Mortal Coil denies the kill for now. Chun-Li crowd controls Wealthy Man. Cubsy now in a bash. Chanimal low on health. Thugonomics goes for the Chaos Bolt. Tries to fake cast the Nether Ward, but it's not actually available. Thugonomics wraps around the corner. Goreki suns up Chanimal. Thugonomics switches targets. Wealthy Man with no ice blocks. 1 Chaos Bolt. Thugonomics gets denied on the second. Chun-Li now needs to be careful. He's got no defense. He portals, but he portals to the opposite boxes. His team, Thugonomics and Goreki, they're up across the map, and they've got a Warlock and a Mage in between them. Chun-Li charges in. Cubsy catches him. Goreki needs to hold on for dear life at this point. Iron Bark needs to be enough. Chun-Li holds on with that. He's trying to push forward with that added defense, but even still with it, he's just crumbling. Yeah, but now Chun-Li has diffused magic and touch of karming, rolling back up, and Super Frogs can't believe it. Chanimal traded out his unending resolve to get aggressive there. They don't take down Chun-Li. Now he's just so vulnerable. You can see Wealthy Man, he's really low as well with no ice block available for another 3 minutes. Cubsy looking to deny that opportunity with his Iron Bark. Wealthy Man now going to be sitting pretty. 33% dampening. Both these druids are going to start struggling. Goreki sitting down, potentially for a drink. Is he going straight to full mana? Has he left Thugonomics behind for too long? These are the questions that need answering. Chanimal getting lower. Tries to get out of line of sight. Thugonomics caught in midfield. He gates away. Out of line of sight. Goreki looking to top him off, but both these druids are going to start struggling. The boys continue to battle to get a next episode and stay in the tournament, but Chun-Li gets caught in a bash. 1 Chaos Bolt for Chanimal. Gladiator's Maledicts likely to close it out. Diffuse magic on -1%. How are you alive, Chun-Li? Rolling into the wall to try and get back to Goreki. 1%. Tournament life on the line. Catches a Vivify. Now they left Thugonomics behind. He's getting owned by Cubsy. Cubsy's just going to kill. Nope, now he gets feared away. Goreki reconvenes, has to heal 2 members of the team so low on health at critical mass and dampening. Mana still in favor of the Super Frogs. Momentum in favor of the Super Frogs. This tournament looking like to be the Super Frogs as Cubsy sets up for the kill. Stun into clone. No trinket. Chun-Li holding on to dear life. Thugonomics retreating back around the corner, but they're separated. Goreki jumps to Chanimal to get back to Chun-Li. Thugonomics launches a Chaos Bolt at Cubsy in desperation to make something happen for his team, but that's not going to do anything. Now Thugonomics is left behind, and Goreki and Chun-Li have to cross the battlefield once again, but I don't think they're going to make it. Goreki jumps over, but Wealthy Man's all over him. Wealthy Man gets Mortal Coiled away. Chun-Li's now in midfield. He's trying to get back to the pillar. Wealthy Man blinks in with no ice blocks. Potentially an overextension. Potentially a punish for the boys. Infernals have landed from Chanimal. That's now a big threat. They can't push forward. They can't punish. If they go out in the open, Chanimal will tear them to pieces. Yeah, but look, Wealthy Man has an ice block rotating back up in 30 seconds. Cold Snap in another 60. That's going to be 2 ice blocks for Wealthy Man. The boys, they have to try to make an offensive push at this point in the game because Super Frogs, they just have so much rotating back up. Thugonomics just such a vulnerable target, still hiding behind the pillar. Big damage on Wealthy Man. Look at Goreki. Chun-Li looking to close out the game. Goreki in trouble now. Chanimal lands a huge Chaos Bolt. Goreki gets out of line of sight, keeping himself alive. 45% dampening. Touch of Death rolling onto Wealthy Man. 6 seconds left on his ice block. Is he going to be able to hold on? Looks like he will. Cubsy ultimately will be able to heal him up. Chun-Li looking to find some damage. Thugonomics still rotting down low. Goreki almost completely out of mana. He's got an ice block. They got all the momentum. Just need a bit more damage. Wealthy Man pins down Chun-Li in a polymorph. Thugonomics goes for Chaos Bolts. One's flying through the air straight at Wealthy Man with the stun. Added extra damage. Ursa's Vortex as well. This has to be an ice block.
Ultimate ducks for cover. He jukes Chun-Li with the Ursul's Vortex, pulling him back upstairs. Chun-Li reconnects. He's going to pop that Earth, Wind, and Fire, gets Frost Nova'd on it. Great reaction from Wealthy Man, stalling out some of the cooldown damage. Chun-Li's trying to push him over. Infernos for Thugonomics. Can he get a Chaos Bolt? Wealthy Man has 2 ice blocks now. Cubsy sitting down for a drink? Nope, didn't get any mana. Gorecki, where are you on the map right now in cat form? Are you sneaking away and drinking to full mana? Because if you are, that might carry the team. Cubsy is. Gorecki didn't. No cooldowns left. Cubsy going back to full mana. Chun-Li stuck in midfield. Likely having a bit of a difficulty. Looks like he's back. Flying around the map, but at least he's back. Cubsy has half mana though. There's still 1 more ice block in the tank. The boys are on match point. 52% dampening and mounting.
Yeah, Chun-Li, unfortunately, in that exchange, had to trade out his Diffuse Magic and his Touch of Karma. Now just so vulnerable. Gorecki with almost no mana does sit down a little bit. Cubsy also, in the meantime, sat down and got some mana back. 54% dampening. What are they going to do? Icy Veins being used. Chun-Li so vulnerable. Transcendence behind the pillar. Chanimal in a good position to fear him away. But a beautiful Ring of Peace. Thugonomics low as well. Chun-Li has to make an offensive push. He needs to try to get a nice block. Wealthy Man already traded 1 out. Thugonomics gets interrupted. This is looking really good for the Super Frogs as all 3 members of the boys retreat behind the pillar once again.
Anyone can die at any moment on the boys here. The Super Frogs have total control of the fight and likely to take this, but afterwards we'll have the Mew Mew Kitty Cats against Never Lucky to decide the 4th team in North America to go to the spring final, so you do not want to go anywhere. This is not the last series of the day. We still have a tie to break. Huge Chaos Bolt. Thugonomics ducks for the corner, tries to stay alive, now comes back up without any result, but gets stunned on it. Cubsy's been doing a great job with Feral Affinity towards the end of this match. Definitely stepping up his game, carrying the team. Thugonomics is barely holding on. Gorecki has no mana left. Absolutely no mana left. Thugonomics gets connected by a Frostbolt. 1 flurry proc from Wealthy Man could close this game out. Wealthy Man gets counter pressured. Chaos Bolt is in the sky. He blocks it, denies the kill. Infernals from Chanimal. Chanimal is the scariest Warlock in this arena right now. Dark Soul and Infernals. If they can connect this Chaos Bolt on Thugonomics, he will not survive. Going to cold, he gates, but he gates into midfield. It looks like Cubsy is going to be the one that tears in for the kill. Cubsy stepping up for his team here in this final match, and they take the tournament as a result.
Super Frogs gonna be the #1 team in North America for our last cup of the season. 6 weeks of play, and these 2 teams have been in the grand finals just so many times. Let's take a look at how it did unfold, because like Sid said, we want to be jumping into this next matchup, the final matchup of the night, as quickly as possible. So Zico, what happened in Dalaran Sewers?
Well, it's just a Mage Lock Druid from Super Frogs. It just looks unbeatable with this composition. It comes down to it. Gorecki goes out of mana, and I gotta say, everyone on the Super Frogs really stepped up. You can see Chanimals towards the end of this one really did a phenomenal job. I'm pretty sure he reflected a Cyclone on Gorecki that actually net them the kill there. You can see here he's gonna drop his Infernals, Cataclysm while they're stunned. Then he's gonna move in here. Gorecki's gonna be looking for the Cyclone right there. Boom, cancels the Shadow Fury, reflects that Cyclone, and then Cubsy goes in for the final killing blow here, while Chanimal is following that up with more crowd control with that Shadow Fury. Actually not even gonna be needed, and it's small things like this that just makes him so good. And honestly, the Super Frogs in general, they kind of just swap roles there at the end. Chanimal becomes the Druid, and Cubsy becomes the Chanimal.
Yeah, so basically, I agree with you there, Zico, and also something that you said yesterday was very important. It was the idea that basically the Mew Mew Kitty Cats needed to place 1 place higher than the Super Frogs. That was like one of the main ideas to everything that needed to happen. Today, the story became the Mew Mew Kitty Cats just needed to win 1.